We have the opportunity to interview Dr. Bernard Jennings. This young man has an incredible story, and we want to be sure that we give him an opportunity to kind of talk about what men have to go through as it relates to having not possession of their child, but being in their child's life. Dr. Jennings, how you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. The energy's crazy here at the convention center.
It absolutely is, and I'm glad that we're having an opportunity to speak with you as we address our politics and color audience.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your book, sir.
Well, my book is called Ethan's Good Dad Act. It was just rated #1 in child advocacy and divorce and family law on Amazon. And Jim Myers, the literary author, has rated 9.3 and a 10 because it affects men of all colors and races all over the country.
Tell us a little bit about your personal story.
So my personal story is, the book is called Ethan's Good Dad Act, but a bill is called Good Dad Act, which is House Bill 775 that passed unanimously last July in the state of Florida. A Democrat by the name of Christopher Benjamin, I wrote a proposal that dads don't have equal rights under the law. In every state of the country says that a mother has a child out of wedlock, she's the natural born guardian of the child. It doesn't even mention the father. So you have a lot of dads around the country that have a child and don't have access to their children. They go to court and they're begging for time with their child. They want to spend time with the child and they can't because the law doesn't say that they have any kind of rights to the child. And men walk around with PTSD because they're worried about their kids. We talk about sports, we talk about money and making deals. We're not talking about failed relationships and the fact that we miss our children. So inside, after we finish doing our work, we're depressed and we're sad because 81% of men in prison even that have children are suffering without a dad. Without a dad, you have disrespect for the next male. We see another male as a confrontation, not as a person of authority that we should respect. So I passed this law in Florida because I want to make sure that all fathers have access to their children and children have access to both parents.
You told me a very interesting story about when your son was taken from you and you didn't know where he was.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, my son was withdrawn from school by his mother. We broke up, 4 or 5 years before that. We were doing our own thing. But she found out I was getting engaged to be married to someone else, and she got upset, and she withdrew him from the private school I had him and moved him to another county. And I couldn't find him for like a month. The parents wouldn't tell me where my son was. Her friends didn't answer the phone anymore. She was ghosted on social media. So I actually was able to serve her. I found out where she was and served her and got time before a Dade County judge. I said, Your Honor, here's the birth certificate. Here's the DNA test that I took voluntarily. Thank you, Mr. Jennings, but under the law, you don't have any rights to this child. The mother can go wherever she wants with the child. If you want to see your child, you have to serve her again and establish paternity, which means you have a financial responsibility. Then after that, you have to serve her visitation papers that gives you time in court to be able to express why you deserve to have time with this child, and she has to agree. So you have a lot of men that go through this, they spend $1,000 and they don't get to see their kids. That was not going to be my narrative. I wasn't going to be the deadbeat dad. So I wrote a 3-page proposal to the state legislature. It went through both House and the Senate. In 8 months, it passed unanimously, no opposition. The governor signed it into law 3 weeks early. The law now says in Florida that when a man and a woman have a child and he steps up, that he has the same rights and responsibilities as the mother does if they're married, although they're not. And another bill passed, a parental bill, 1301 timesharing, that says when he steps up, he's entitled to have 50-50 timesharing with a rebuttable presumption from the mother that he shouldn't. It means that she has to prove in court on that day that he's guilty of child molestation or guilty of domestic violence against the child or against her in the child's presence, to what degree, then he still is entitled to some time with his child. It's a historic bill. A lot of men have 50-50. I represented myself in court. I now have 50-50 with my son, and I've got a movement going across the country. We've got this bill in 13 other states right now. New Jersey just passed a similar bill. The verbiage is the same. And Missouri passed something giving 50-50, and I've got it going through the U.S. Virgin Islands, New York, New Jersey, Alabama, Maryland, North Carolina, Indiana, Iowa, Alabama, and Arizona. And I'm going to go all 50 states so that all children will be able to have access to their fathers, their good dads.
Dr. Jennings has written an incredible book. He's also a delegate for the state of Florida. We're going to give you a second, Dr. Jennings, to pitch your book. What would you like to say, sir?
So you can find this book on Amazon, or you can go to ethansgooddadact.com, or you can go to gooddadact.com to be a member of the Good Dad Act Committee. We have a meeting every Tuesday night for fathers all around the country. We even have some wives on there that their loved one is going through this, grandparents, because when the child is taken from the dad, he's taken from the grandparents and the aunties and uncles as well. This crosses all racial boundaries. White men, black men, Hispanic men, all men that have children need time with their children. Children need their parents, both parents, especially their dad.
Dr. Jennings, Appreciate your story.
Thank you so much.
Incredible story. Politics in Color, 2024 Chicago Convention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.